coming to you from Michigan, and it's Friday the 13th tonight, and I have nothing to do, so I'm going to make some cupcakes. We're going to be adapting our cupcakes today off of Vegan Cupcakes Take Over the World. This is a really fantastic cupcake book, and I love it. But this is my first time making these cupcakes, so I guess you're going to learn along with me. So what we're making today are orange chocolate cupcakes with almond frosting, and I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, so what we're going to do first is I have 3/4 cup of almond milk, which I actually made earlier today. Made a huge mess in my kitchen. But we're going to add 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and we're going to whisk it in. And that'll give us kind of a buttermilk type thing that we're going to use in our cupcakes. So here's our 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And let's mix that in. Okay, so we're going to want to give that a little time to just sit. And while we're letting that sit, we're going to mix up some things, other things that we need for our cupcakes. So the next thing we need is 3/4 cup of sugar. And the sugar I'm using is vegan sugar because, well, I'm a vegan. A lot of sugar is actually the process that they use to make the sugar uses animal bones as a filter for the sugar, and since I do not want to be using animal products, I steer away from normal sugar, and that's why we're using vegan sugar. So that was 1/2 cup of sugar, and this is 1/4 cup. And that together is 3/4 cups. Alright, and the next thing I'm going to mix in is 1/3 cup of canola oil. Oh, I forgot to get the canola oil. Hold on 1 second. So, canola oil is really good for baking. I like it. It doesn't have a very strong flavor, and so, but it still gives it that kind of oily richness that we like in our sweet baked goods. So, let's do 1/3 cup. That's our 1/3 cup. And then we're going to do 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And also we're going to put in 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract, which really complements chocolate flavor. So a lot of times in baking, when I use vanilla extract, I also complement it with almond when I'm cooking things with chocolate in it, because it really gives it that really nice flavor. I'm going to put these things away. Alright. So I don't know about you guys, but this is what I do on my Friday nights when I have nothing else to do. Baking is always so much fun, and then you get to eat what you've made afterwards, which is nice. There's our 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. And now that this has had some time to sit, let's pour it on in. And it's nice and curdled. You can't really see it, but it gets all curdly like buttermilk, and it gives it a nice kind of flavor and texture in the cupcakes. So now, let's go get our electric mixer so we can beat this together. Okay, electric mixer. I actually just bought this recently. I just moved to Michigan, and before that, I did not have an electric mixer, but I wasn't really making a lot of cupcakes then, and I didn't really need it. So the last time I made cupcakes, I made the frosting, well, not the last time, but the first time while I was here in Michigan making cupcakes. I made it with the frosting just by hand, without an electric mixer, and that really created some problems because it was really hard to do. Really works those baking muscles. Alright, so we're going to mix this up just a few minutes until it gets nice and foamy. So we're going to turn it on higher speed to get it nice and foamy. Doing this. Alright. Okay, that looks good. Now we're just going to set this aside because we're going to use it later for the frosting. I'm going to put it over by the sink so it can drip in there. Okay. Great. So now we have our nice and foamy mixture of our sugar and oil. Actually, it's really interesting. The reason you really have to mix the sugar and oil well is because there's a chemical reaction that goes on between the sugar and the oil, and it makes it combine very nicely. So, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to scoot this bowl aside for a minute. Whoop! And we're going to grab this bowl, and we're going to start doing the flour and the dry ingredients. So, what we're going to do is we're going to use 1 cup of flour. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. We're also going to put into here, we're going to put a 1/4 cup orange juice. And this is going to give our cupcakes that orange flavor that we're looking for, because they're orange chocolate cupcakes. So, that's our 1/4 cup of orange juice. And let's just whisk that in really quick. I can't believe I almost forgot the orange juice. That would have been really bad. They wouldn't have been orange chocolate cupcakes then. They'd have just been chocolate cupcakes. Okay. Will that stay? I think it'll stay. Okay. So what we're going to do, as I said, is 1 cup of flour. So let me go grab the flour. I'm running low on flour. I'm going to have to refill this. We'll just try to pour it on in. I might make a big mess. Just a warning, I always make a big mess when I'm baking. Yep, there it starts. I see the mess coming. Got a little flour spill. Okay though, but I think, yes, we definitely have a cup. Let's just, alright. Whew, big, more mess. That's why I'm wearing the apron, so I don't make myself a mess, just my counters. Alright, so now that we've done the flour, we're going to add 1/3 cup of cocoa powder. Now my cocoa powder is kind of lumpy, so we're going to sift it. And that'll make it less lumpy. Actually not lumpy at all. So, alright. Wait, 1/3 cup. Oh, we need to rinse out the 1/3 cup. Hold on a second. I used for the oil, so that was all oily. But now it's all clean, and just to dry it so the cocoa doesn't stick to it. But, yeah, so I'm pretty excited about these cupcakes. I used to do mostly cookies when I was baking, but recently I bought this cupcake book, and now I'm all about cupcakes. The thing about cupcakes is it's a lot of food. So not like cookies where you're like, oh, I'll have 2 or 3. No, cupcakes you can pretty much only have 1, and then it's too much. So yeah. So what I've been doing is bringing most of my cupcakes to work, so people can enjoy them from work, and then I don't eat them all, which is good. I'm having some measuring trouble, of course, making a mess. That's what I do best. Alright. Score. I don't know if you can see my big mess right here, but there's cocoa powder everywhere. Okay, but we're going to just sift this into the flour. And remove this stuff out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so we're just sifting. I mean, it's not that exciting, but that's what's going on. Yeah, so as I said, I recently moved to Michigan. I really like it here, actually. I'm in the Saginaw, Midland Bay City area, and it's kind of rural, but it's pretty nice. I'm actually originally from a rural area, so not too bad. We're still sifting here. Yeah, so it's pretty nice. I'm enjoying it, and the job that I started is pretty awesome, so I like that. Now, if you're having trouble sifting like me, sometimes you can just give it a nice little press in here. It kind of scoots it along. Sometimes it just gets a little stuck. Okay, so we're almost done sifting now. Sometimes if you tap it, it helps too. The little mesh on the wire gets clogged. Alright, so after we're done sifting, which we're almost done, I promise, we're going to be doing 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and then some baking powder and salt, and then we get to combine it all together. Oh, okay, so like always, I forgot to preheat the oven, so we're going to do that now. I always forget to preheat the oven. We're supposed to preheat the oven to 350, so I'll do that now, and hopefully it's all heated up by the time we finish getting this stuff ready, but it probably won't be. Okay, so that's all sifted. Let's put this over here. Alright, and now we're going to just add 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Whoop. Whoop. Okay, and then we're going to add a half a teaspoon of baking powder. Wait, this is dirty too. Okay, no longer dirty. That was what we measured the almond extract with. Okay, so half a teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm just going to add a little more because I like my cupcakes a little fluffier, and baking powder adds a little rise to them. Okay. And, okay, so then we're just going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we're going to be ready to mix together. There's our salt. And I'm just going to mix it with a whisk because that's what I like to do. So let's get all our dry ingredients all mixed together. And when you're using a whisk, whisks are really nice to get it all mixed together, but you have to make sure, because sometimes you're not able to get the bottom up. So just make sure and check to see if the bottom got whisked in, which mine did. All right. So now